Well, hello, Trinium friends, and welcome to this week's edition of Patio Ponderings. I'm filming a little bit earlier than I usually do in the week, and it's Wednesday afternoon, and it's just another beautiful dry day here. And I can't help but think of those who are still recovering in the wake of Hurricane Helene, and those who face Hurricane Milton, which is right on their doorstep. So just asking that we all do whatever we can to keep those affected in our prayers and to help in any way that we can. Every little bit financially to reputable organizations is one of the most helpful things we can do. So anyway, shifting back to what our story was on Sunday, we had a hard topic. We talked about divorce, but we also read these verses that came right at the end of that reading. And what's happening in those verses is that the children are coming to Jesus and the disciples don't think they should be there. And then Jesus says this, and this is from the Gospel of Mark in the 10th chapter, verses 14 to 15. Jesus says, "The kingdom of God belongs to people like these children. I assure you, whoever doesn't welcome the kingdom of God like a child, will never enter it." Now, if you've been around the church and you've heard these verses before, the next move that we usually make in understanding this passage is to start to think about, well, what is a child like? What is the nature of a child, and how that might be looked to as a way to welcome the kingdom of God? And we usually look to things like the trusting nature of a child, their innocence, their openness, their willingness to believe and to have faith. But these verses don't stand by themselves. They are in the context of a larger learning and larger teachings about Jesus. And what Jesus is talking about here is what it means to be the greatest in the kingdom of God is actually to be the least. And that we are to be welcoming to child because they are the least of these. And so I started to ponder, I started to wonder, well, is it about welcoming in the kingdom of God like a child in a child's nature? Or does this mean we welcome the kingdom of God as one with a child's status? Because that's a different conversation. That's a very different statement. So what might that mean? What might it mean to welcome the kingdom of God, to welcome Jesus into our world and into our lives with the status of a child, as the least of these, as one on the margins? So we think about the things that make us the least of these or the greatest of these, and so are we to set aside our earthly power that we have, our material wealth perhaps, our cultural status, our social status, our business status, and then what do we take on instead? Well, maybe the power of Jesus, which is the power of love. Taking on the status of one in the kingdom. It is a status, it's a posture of service to others, love of neighbor, and putting the neighbor's needs before our own. The wealth of the kingdom of God are all those things that we talk about, such as compassion and grace, humility, humbleness, mercy. If we have those things, then we are wealthy in the kingdom of God. So what do you think? What do you think it means to welcome the kingdom of God like a child? What do you think of when you hear those verses? As always, I'd love to hear what you have to say. And we will see you on Sunday. And in the meantime, Keep those prayers lifted for those in Florida. We'll see you soon. Bye.